everybody, this is Jim the Tabletop Engineer, and welcome to a new video. Welcome to 2025, although I guess when I post this video it will probably still be 2024. But today is New Year's Eve. I am up early in the workshop. Things have been absolutely crazy here over the last month. And first off, my apologies for just dropping you guys without any videos over pretty much all December. I just my laser business it just took over. It's been a banner holiday season, and a lot has happened, and I'm going to catch you up on that. Plus, I'm going to tell you some things about some stuff that I'm going to be doing in the new year. So while I'm talking to you, I am going to be finishing up the last 3 orders. When I finish these, right now my order queue is empty. I still have some orders, but they're like not due for a week. The first one is this little bridge. It doesn't have the roof on or the personalizations yet. It's a bridge I designed that works with the Thomas the Trains toys. My kids were big into Thomas the Train when we were little. We had track all over the place. And I make trains that are personalized. This is a diesel with Mateo, and it rolls on the track. And this is a bridge that will have, and when I put his name in it, Mateo can incorporate this into his track, and he'll have Mateo's bridge. So I just finished the diesel train. Has magnets on the front and back, just like the Thomas the Trains. I always test everyone to make sure it's fully functional. The other thing I'm working on this morning is I'm finishing up a paint box. This one holds Citadel paints. The bottom part is customizable. I have holders for Citadel paints, or you can choose Army Painter, Reaper, Vallejo, that type of dropper bottle. And so let me go ahead and get working on this while I talk to you about it, because I got to get to the post office before they close at noon today. What I've got going on right now is I have been pondering how I'm going to handle new videos in 2025. I really honestly tried to produce a set number of videos every week. I mean, I was pumping them out. If you were watching all of them, and it wasn't a real issue for a while. And the reason is that I was making videos so far in advance that I had all these videos queued up. But then the holiday season hit, and things started getting busy, and I wasn't able to make as many videos, and I started chewing through the videos that I had banked. And so I started thinking about how can I address this in 2025, because I want to make sure that I'm consistent in releasing videos, especially videos that you're interested in watching. So what I've come up with, I'm taking a page from my friend Bill Wylock's Armory. Years ago, I don't know if he does it anymore, but years ago he started doing what he called seasons. He would do season, and then he would take a break, and then do a season. And I think I'm going to try that, because what it's going to allow me to do is, and here's what I'm going to do. Seasons are going to be 2 months with a 1-month break. So there'll be 4 seasons a year. It'll be like January, February videos. I'm going to try to do them every day, something different all the time. Then I'll probably take March off and bank more videos. Because when the bank starts getting low, I start getting stressed. And I also can't predict some of the things that happen in my life. For example, at the beginning of December, those of you who know me well, I may have mentioned it, my laser tube died. And it didn't take long to fix. It took about 3 or 4 days, but my orders were piling up and I was getting very stressed. So things like that I can't predict, I need to be able to sort of have a breather space for. Hang on a second. Got to get something. I already got it. Okay. I was looking for my drill bit that I needed. What'd you do with your drill bit? Oh, there it is. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have January, February, lots of videos. And then in March, I'll take a sanity break. I'll still be shooting videos, but I won't feel obligated to do it necessarily every day. And also it might give me a break to do some other things, focus on my other businesses, because while I'm doing the videos, I'm also doing zines. I'm doing runes, my rune zine and my Delver zine, and those come out every, well, I say every 2 months. It's really sort of every 3 by the time the printer gets me what I need, and then I get them in the mail. Sorry, I gotta drill these hinges. So yeah, so I just want to assure you that I got videos. Videos are coming, and December was just really bad. As a matter of fact, how bad was it? Well, believe it or not, a week ago, and I mentioned that my laser tube died, and I had to order a new one. They sent it to me like within 3 days, and then I installed it, and when I fired it up, it worked, and I thought, great, no problem. But over a period of a few weeks, now I make a lot of things. Mostly for the holiday season, I make small ornaments. And when you make small things with a laser, sometimes you don't notice things. And what I'm talking about is cuts. If you make a small cut, it might have a slight angle to it, or it might be not square, but you won't notice it because it's such a short cut. But when you do things like this, where you have a long cut, that line may not be true 90. Or if you look at it from this angle, it could have a bevel to it. And that was something I didn't notice when I was doing all these ornaments. It was only when a few of these paint box orders came in about 2 weeks ago, I put one together, and it was weird. It was slightly not square. Like the lid opened, the box opened, but it was sitting funny. I don't know quite how to describe it. And what happened was the laser cut was not true 90. It wasn't coming out of the nozzle. Think of this as the nozzle, and the laser's coming straight down. It was almost not even a noticeable, but it was such a subtle angle that I would have never noticed it without these long cuts. But over the distance, it was causing longer items to not be true 90 or vertical to the true 90 to the flat surface, perpendicular. So 2 weeks ago, I got on with tech support of Thunder Laser, and I said, look, I installed this new tube and it worked for a while, but now I'm noticing that it's not cutting properly. And they talked to me and questioned me, and we finally figured out that it was the mirrors inside. When you install a new tube, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes you have to install, or you have to align the mirrors. There are 3 mirrors in the laser. When the tube fires, it hits mirror 1 at a 45-degree angle approximately. It reflects to mirror 2, which then reflects the beam to mirror 3, which directs it down to the surface, and that's how it cuts. And what happened was, let me drill these 4 holes real quick. What happened was, when I installed the tube, I didn't align the mirrors, because when I did my test firing and stuff, everything looked fine. So I've learned a lesson. Next time I have to install a tube, which hopefully won't be for another 3 or 4 years, I need to test a long cut, not just a short cut. So believe it or not, discovering that put me down a rabbit hole that for the last 2 weeks I've been doing ornaments, but I've been having to pile up bigger orders, like for the paint box, or for things like, even like stuff this big. This thing it is 90 now, but it actually had a slight lean to it. And aligning the mirrors is not for the faint of heart. There are lots of videos. If you're really interested, Google or go to YouTube and search for align laser mirrors, and be prepared. Oh, wow, that screw doesn't even have a head on it. No way to pierce the wood. Just do a search for it and watch. It is crazy how much work. I mean, you have to do you're turning these little screws to adjust a mirror vertically and left to right. And you do them in very tiny turns, and then you test. And then if it's off, you line it a little more, and you fiddle with the mirrors, and you fire a test. And it took hours and hours. Well, I finally got the mirrors aligned, and I thought I was back in business. And then typically when I cut, I have a 2-foot by 4-foot bed in my laser. So I can cut a piece of plywood that's 2 foot tall by 4 feet wide. And I can cut up to like a 1/2 inch thick, but I don't. I usually do 1/4 inch. And so where was I? Oh, yeah. All of a sudden, my laser started acting really weird again. And when I cut in my 2-foot by 4-foot area, I typically cut towards the front of the machine, because when I stand in front of the machine, I lean over. You know, it's human nature to just work close to you. I'm not working in the back of the machine. But it wasn't until I started cutting things like this again, towards the back, it started doing weird cuts again. And I was just like, this is just driving me insane. And what it turns out is that over time, 3 or 4 years, because I've had it for 3 years now, over the 3 years, subtle loosening of screws and things like that, it can cause your laser to not be square to its bed. There's this thing called the gantry. It's the thing that goes left to right, and the laser is mounted on it, and it moves back and forth, left and right. It doesn't move up and down, just left and right, up and down. And over time, that thing can become not square. It's very subtle. You wouldn't even hardly notice it with your human eyes, but with a square, you can get in there and you can find out that it's not. And this machine is built for a tolerance of up to 1/2 millimeter not square. So that's pretty good. But think about a millimeter. If it's a millimeter off, right? If down here it's perfectly square, but by the time it gets up here, it's 1 millimeter off. So think about, and it's 2 feet. So think about a line going 2 feet up that is just 1 millimeter off vertical. It'll mess up everything. It has to be a fine-tuned machine. So I got that taken care of, and just testing my box to make sure it opens. See, there's the Citadel pots holder back there. So I got that done, fired up all my tests, and we were back in business. And by the time that happened, it was about a week ago. And of course, then right about the time I got it fixed is about the time we head out to go visit family for Christmas. So I talked to my wife, and I was like, I don't want to miss my family. So I emailed some of my customers. I got everything out that was due out by the 18th of December. So yeah, there's your date. So December 18th, I had the laser working, I think on December 17th. I worked a long night trying to get everything done so I could get it in the mail by the 18th. Anything that was ordered from the 18th on was no guarantee for Christmas delivery. So I had that going for me, because we left on the 20th and came back on the 26th. We don't travel every year, but this year was travel year. And I didn't want to have to cancel or stay here by myself while my family traveled. So I emailed my customers, and there were a lot of them. And I said, listen, it was a form email. I said, listen, had some laser issues, but your order is safe. It didn't come in time for the post office to get it to you by Christmas. If you want, I'll refund you your money, but I'm not going to be able to get these in the mail until like the 26th or 27th. And almost all of them, I think I had 2 out of about, 24 that just said, nah, go ahead and refund me. It's no big deal or whatever. So I refunded them. But everybody else was kind of cool about it. So got back from the holidays and got all my orders caught up. And like I said, these are my last 2 that I've got, or 2. The train and the bridge go together. So my last 2 orders to go out. And it has just been, it has just been a crazy December, because it was not like this last year. It was not like this at all. So I did manage to play some games while I was gone. Not games, not war games, but you know, I did get some games under my belt. And my youngest son we were in a game store, and before Christmas, he spotted the game called Halo Flashpoint. Do I have it? Yeah. So I'll show it to you in a second. He spotted it. He's been slowly coming back to war games. Like recently, a couple weeks ago, he wanted to play a game of Space Weirdos. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we played a game. And then all of a sudden, he's like, I really do like playing these. I'm like, you know, of course I want to hear that. So so when he he knows the Halo video game, which I don't. I'm aware of it. I've never played it. So he saw it and he's like, Dad, that looks awesome. And I said, well, would you play it if I painted the miniatures? And he said, yeah. So I said, would you read the rule book? He said, no. He hates reading rule books. But he said, I'll watch some learn to play videos. Fair enough. So I read the rule book and then I watched some learn to play videos. I just painted up we got the Recon edition, which is, we got this version right here. I painted up the miniatures last night. I need to varnish them so they're protected. They're plastic, they're not metal, but they're big. They're like 40 millimeter scale, I think would be the scale you would call it. And they look awesome. And this is the Recon edition, which is kind of like a 2-player starter set. So we got it. And if he ends up really, really liking it, they just announced expansions for it. They're going to be releasing even more miniatures, more teams, more special soldiers. So I think they've got a hit on their hand there. Based on videos I've watched, I actually watched a gameplay video at the game store. People seem to be loving this game. And based on what I saw of the gameplay, I got to admit, it's pretty slick. It's based on an old game called Danger Zone or Zone Wars, or I forget. It's not on here. It's on another Mantic game that I don't know. But it uses these 2-inch by 2, actually I think they're 3-inch, aren't they? 3-inch by 3-inch squares. And it's called a cube. Not a grid or a square, you know, they call them cubes. And a cube, so think about an 8 by 8 cube. That is 24 inches by 24. It's a 2 foot by 2 foot square play area. And that's what the game is really based on, is a 2 foot by 2 foot area, which those of you who play war games, you know that anytime you take a war game that's played on a 3 by 3 or a 4 by 4 and you reduce it to a 2 by 2, the gameplay is usually much faster, much more dangerous, because you're not getting into position, like you're not maneuvering based on what your opponent does. You don't have those first few rounds to like figure out what you want to do. You're dropped right in there. If I can see your guy or he can see me, there is a shot coming. It's very fast, and everybody who posts videos about it, and I agree with them, they seem to think that this is a great war game for introducing people to war games. Because when you move a miniature into a cube, which is a 3-inch by 3-inch, you're not measuring. You never measure. You just move blocks. Like if you have a movement of 3 block, that means on your turn, one of your guys can move 3 blocks. And when you enter a block, the final block, you can put yourself anywhere you want. So if there's terrain that's partially in there, or a barricade or something, you can move your miniature in such a way that it's in cover. You don't need a ruler to do it. And vertical in this game is also one of my favorite things about it, is it's meant to be played vertically, meaning not 2-dimensional, but just height as well. And so everything is based on this 3-inch by 3-inch by 3-inch cube. So when you want to move vertically at an angle, like let's say in one block it's ground level, but the next block has a 1 cube, 3 by 3. If you move diagonally, you just move up 1 block. A 1 block vertical move is still considered 1 block. It's really interesting. And the shooting and the melee rules for hand-to-hand, super simple. And you're not rolling 30 dice like in Warhammer, because you're only controlling like 4. The recon version is 4 versus 4. You're not rolling tons of dice. You're rolling at most maybe 5 or 6 to hit, and the defender typically rolls 3, although there are modifications to that for certain shields, and everybody has shields. Like, that's a big thing in this game, is shields. Like, everybody has a certain level of shielding. But I will say this, the combat rules are very impressive. They are not overly complicated. Everything is based on keywords on the cards of the soldiers you play. So most cards will have like 2 or 3 keywords, and in the rule book you look up those keywords and it just tells you what your modifiers are for like combat or movement or whatever. It's really, really cool. So we're going to be playing this hopefully this week, maybe even tomorrow, on New Year's Day. I've got to put together the terrain is cardboard cutouts. You fit it all together. But if my son really ends up liking it, I'm already starting to see 3D printed terrain for the game that is based on that block scale or block terrain size. So yeah, very, very interested to see. Hold on. Very interested to see how this game progresses, because first off, the fact that it grabbed my son's attention. So it tells me there's a lot of kids out there who probably have grown up on Halo. I know my oldest son played Halo. I don't know which one, because there's like 5 or 6 or 10. I don't remember how many versions there are. But he played Halo in the basement of our old house. And he knows who Master Chief is. I know who Master Chief is. I know it's a major character in the game. I don't know what his relevance is or if he has a real name or anything like that. I'm not into the lore of the game, although I guess if I get into it with my youngest son, I may have to do some digging and figure it out, because apparently they're going to be releasing miniatures of, I don't know if they're named characters, or maybe they're an armor type, or maybe they're a character from the video game. I don't know. But I probably am going to need to get up to speed on it. Now, the other cool thing about it is Mantic is already releasing, what do they call it? Play. I just went blank on the word. Tournament play, like like kits. They call them something. Promote play, or anyway, they're offering these kits, so game stores can buy them. They're really not expensive. And they come with like little bonus rewards for winners and participants and things like that. So I'm betting money that we're going to start seeing a lot of Halo tournaments at game stores. And we're also going to see, like regular scheduled events. Like at my local game store, there's like almost every other week there's a Warhammer event. And I also know that there's like Star Wars, X-Wing, or maybe it's not X-Wing. Is it Armada? I can't remember. Legion, Legion kind of fell. Legion's kind of fallen aside. I don't know, but anyway, there are these tournaments that are, and I don't know if they're official or just game. The game store runs them, and they have entry fees and stuff like that. So I'm fully expecting to see some tournament play, and if my son really, really likes it, I may go play with him. I hope I don't end up playing against him. My son is very, very good at war games. He doesn't believe me when I tell him that. I'm putting a name badge on the front. He doesn't believe me when I tell him that, but he is very tactical in his thinking. It's I'm not going to say it's intimidating. It's impressive, but there are some games I can beat him at, and there are some games like Space Weirdos. He just gets it. He just gets the game, and I understand the game, but he just really took to it and knows the rules very well, and he usually beats me at it. Right now I'm putting these little pull handles. There's one at the bottom and one at the top. This is called a scissor box. So when you hold at the bottom and grab here at the top and you pull, the box expands, opens up into that layered look. It's called a scissor hinges, scissor box. I'm not sure what the correct terminology is, but I got to glue the buttons on. So I'm really looking forward to that. Now, as for videos, let me change the subject to my video game channel. for a long time now, I have been playing games that I enjoy, I want to play. The problem is the viewership of certain videos just isn't there. There are some games I play where the numbers are great, and there are some games where no one's watching it. I mean, maybe 10 or 50 or something like that. So I'm torn. I'm like, okay, the channel is mine, and I've always said that I play what I want to play, and if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. You know, it's my channel. But I also recognize that I am trying to generate some sort of income from the channel. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it really should justify the time that I'm spending making the videos, editing the videos, things like that. So I went back and I looked at my, this is the insert for like tools and odds and ends. And so I went back and I looked at my stats of the videos. And certain games that I rarely play anymore, they're just, boy, that's tight. Let me have to, there we go. I've decided that I'm gonna have to return to some classics, right? Wow, that is really tight. So what happened, and this could be related to my cutting issue, although I don't think it is. It was very cold yesterday when I cut these. I wonder, sometimes even temperature can impact these. The lines are straight. That is really weird. Oh, there we go. Okay, maybe that was what it just needed space. So I'm telling you this only because I've had a lot of people ask me, why don't you play this anymore? Why don't you play that anymore? And all good questions. I may have to look at this. It's not fitting in there tight, right. Come on. Well, these fit, but these didn't. Don't know. So let me take a pause from this and tell you what I'm going to do. So there are some games that I'm going to return to, and I'm looking forward to it because I do enjoy playing these games. What you can look forward to is some Frostgrave, a regular Frostgrave game. There are so many Frostgrave books, and I've got them all, that scenarios, I'm not going to run out of scenarios anytime soon. On the flip side of that, Stargrave. I do love Stargrave. I'm going to start a regular Stargrave game. 2d6 dungeon, it's going to stay. Weekly. I think I don't know, we'll see. I can't promise bi-weekly, but we'll definitely do weekly. 4 Against Darkness, not sure. The numbers weren't there. I do enjoy playing it. What I might do is maybe that one will be a one every other week or once a month. I don't know. Once a month doesn't seem good, so maybe once every other week, because I do enjoy playing the game. It's just not generating traffic. There are some other games that I'm not going to mention just yet. Hopefully they'll come as a surprise. We'll test the waters. But the other thing about the seasons that I mentioned to you is it's going to give me a chance to look at my numbers, my stats, and try to fine-tune my channel. Because if I'm going to spend time playing the games, videoing the games, editing the games, uploading the games, they need to be something that people want to watch, and they need to be generating some sort of income for me. And if they're not meeting both of those requirements, then I need to look for another game. So the break between seasons, 1 month, 2 month, and then a 3rd month break, that 3rd month break, every 3 months break, is going to allow me to take a step back and evaluate. So if you like a certain campaign, watch it, comment on it, like it, because those metrics are all recorded by YouTube, and they're metrics that I will check. And if I don't see the the interest, that game may get cut. So there you go. I really didn't want to make this video too long. I do want to wish you a happy new year. It's crazy. 2024 is gone. And 2025, I don't know what it is about that year. It just seems like a cool year. It's obviously a number that is easy to, 2025. We're 1/4 of the way through the 2000s. But I'm hoping 2025 is going to be a good year for all of you. I'm looking forward to it. I've got a lot of things going on this coming year. Some new plans, you know, regular stuff continuing. I've got a senior who's going to be graduating in late April, I think, and heading off to college at the end of 2025. So lots of craziness going on in the Kelly house, but just glad to be breathing. You know, glad to have the laser problems because they were solvable, and you know, it's just I always try to roll with the stress. I mean, I was stressed, but I try to roll with it, whether it's a medical thing, and I've had those, whether it's mechanical, I've had those, family issues, I've had those, health issues, I've had those. You just, you know, I just hope that 2025 is a peaceful one for you, and that anything that hits you, a roadblock, is circumventable or circumnavigable. I don't know what I hope you can get around it. As always, I do appreciate your support of my channels, my zines, all that stuff. We may not know each other personally, but I like gamers. I like gamers. I meet gamers all the time at conventions and at game stores and stuff. And when you meet a person who has a fellow interest, has a similar interest, it just, I jive with them, I gel with them, and with you guys, I do appreciate all your support. And you know, you can always email me. I may not be able to get back to you right away, but I try to always respond to my messages, and just hope and wish the best for you and your families. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. This is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. Thanks for joining me on this update video. I'll probably have another one for you right after the new year starts. It's more formal, but I just figured while I was down here tinkering and working, I would give you a little update. So everybody, take care. Be safe tonight. If you're going to be out on the roads, be extra careful. And Happy New Year to you. Take care. Bye.
Check out the new RPG and Wargame newsletter. Each week, the Tabletop Engineer shares news, products, Kickstarters, and much more related to the gaming hobby. It's free to subscribe, so check out the link in the video description below to sign up.